Welcome to a special edition of Hard Talk from the Cannes Lions Festival, the annual gathering of advertising and media folk from around the world. My guest today is the Oscar-winning actor Gwyneth Paltrow, a Hollywood A-lister who in recent years has focused much of her attention on building her lifestyle and consumer business, Goop. Now, her likes and opinions are followed by millions, prompting aspiration in many, but mockery in some. Why does she rouse such strong emotions? Well, ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm welcome to Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth, first of all, welcome to Hard Talk. Thank you for being here. In terms of your professional life today, do you see yourself first as an actor, which you've been really all of your adult life, or a businesswoman?
I think I see myself daily. Now my role really is operating, running, being the creative force behind the business. But I say that because I'm able to regard myself that way because I started, I built myself as an actor, and I'm doing it from that platform. And I think it's always going to be in my DNA as well.
Well, if it's in your DNA, how difficult is it to really seriously curtail the amount of movies, the amount of acting you do? Because just looking at the arc of your career, you've had a whole host of big movies. You won the Oscar back in, I think, '99 for Shakespeare in Love. And yet, these days, at most, it seems, you do one movie a year.
At the most, yes. I mean, I think I had an incredible acting career. I was really, really fortunate to be at the right place at the right time, have some talent, and meet wonderful people and get great opportunities. And
Can I interrupt? You just said had, like past tense.
Well,
is that the way you feel about it?
I mean, I think that at this point right now, I'm so focused on the business and scaling the business and raising my children, and there's really only so much that one can do. And I think that I do believe that people and women especially have different chapters in their lives and different seasons, and it's been interesting to kind of change course and in a way have the bravery to do it because I think I had a perfectly good job and a wonderful career, and I really decided to pivot and try something else and follow a passion.
If there are movie producers watching this, or indeed in the audience, and they're thinking that they're looking for you to play a role in a big movie project, are you saying to me, if that phone call came in, you would simply say no?
I couldn't do it right now. I couldn't possibly do it right now. But that's not saying that next year I couldn't, but not right now.
Do you think there is something in the argument that it is much tougher for women in the movie business? You've mentioned the commitment you have to your 2 young children.
Yeah.
I dare say that male actors, as successful as you, would sit in that chair and talk to me, and they wouldn't necessarily say that being a father is really, in a sense, curtailing or compromising or restricting their ability to continue in the movie business.
Right. I think that that's something that all working women, working mothers struggle with, the idea that we want to raise our children and we also want to fulfill our passions and our professional dreams. I was very lucky that when I had children, I was able to take a break. Some women aren't afforded that luxury, and I was able to stop for a few years and commit to just being home, and it was at that point that I really made the pivot in my career.
And I want to talk a lot about the business. I just wonder if one element in your business life that you appreciate, given the experiences you've had in the movie industry, is that you are now in control. I mean, I just wonder, I've been preparing for talking to you, looking at some of the words from leading actors, female actors in the business today. Salma Hayek, not long ago, said that, Hollywood is basically dysfunctional. If you have the same capacities, you're doing the same job as a man and a woman, it is criminal not to pay the same salary. She clearly feels that still there is deep sexism in the pay scales. Keira Knightley said recently, it's not just about the pay. There is a lack of female-centric stories in Hollywood. Where are the female stories? Where are the female directors and the writers? It is fundamentally imbalanced. Did you feel that?
You know, when I was in the midst of doing movie after movie, I think it was at a very special time when there were a lot of kind of independent films being made, but with robust budgets and a lot of female stories. I think that I do find that there are less female stories being told, but then, you know, every once in a while you'll see something that's really resonant and really female-centric. But, you know, I think as women in the culture now, we are always trying to push forward and move the needle and reach for equality and demand equality. And it's like a super tanker, you know, you can't turn it a really quick turn. It's sort of a slow turn, but I think we're getting there.
But Charlize Theron on a recent movie said, you know, she looked at the deal she was being offered and she knew that her co-lead, I think it was Chris Hemsworth, was being paid substantially more than she was, and she said, I'm not going to do the movie unless we get equal. Would you do that in future? Because you're not giving up movies entirely, but is that now important to you?
You know, I think philosophically it's very important, but I think there are also, I think part of it, there is a chauvinistic or aspect to it. But I also think that there are, so in a case like Charlize, she deserves to be paid as much, if not more. But there are certain cases where they're using different metrics and data to determine prices for people. It's not always gender-based. So I think there's a spectrum.
Let's get to Goop, if we may.
Okay.
It is a pretty extraordinary story. Is it true that, I think back in 2008, you just decided it would be fun to send out a sort of weekly email of your thoughts, your likes, the things you'd discovered, a sort of Gwyneth speaking to her community? Is that how it started? Sort
of. I mean, you know, I had the great fortune of living all over the world, making films and traveling, and I'm a real traveler, and I love to eat and cook and discover things, and I'm innately very curious. And so I started kind of aggregating all of the information that I was collecting, and it was before the internet, so I had reams of notebooks. And my friends would always call me, and I was the person for my friends. You know, they would call and say, I'm going to Rome, where should I eat? Or, you know, how do I roast a chicken? And that kind of thing. So
how do I roast a chicken?
Yeah, literally. That's a call that I used to get a lot. So it was originally...
That wasn't from Chris, was it? Chris Martin,
Oh, who set the house on fire when he made me dinner? No, that wasn't. That was a different story. And, you know, it was that, and it was also that I had curiosity about the internet and what was possible, and I kind of had dreams somewhere of doing something in the lifestyle space, and one day I just kind of took this bizarre leap and I started publishing content.
Yeah, and I guess what you were a pioneer of was understanding the power of the internet, because, you know, you could put it out there online and you immediately, because obviously you're very well known, you begin to build a very, very substantial group of followers.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
And kind of unwittingly, you know, I didn't realize that would happen organically.
But did you consciously think, you know what, I'm building a brand here, brand Gwyneth, and that I can play upon people's aspirations? You know, there are certain things about my life that many people would regard as attractive, and I can sort of build a brand around people wanting to be a bit like me.
No, it wasn't conscious like that. It was genuinely me wanting to find the best answers, answer my own questions, aggregate information for my friends or people who might be interested in the information. I think it was only through time, through the gestational period of the brand, that I started to understand, oh, there's power in this brand. I don't know how to harness it. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm doing exactly. And it's been something that I've learned through the course of doing it.
Here's the critique. I like this phrase one of your critics came up with.
Oh, God.
Goop essentially is airy online pronouncements from Planet Wealth. You being the ruler of Planet Wealth. I mean, there is something...
Is there a spaceship I can take there to Planet Wealth?
You know what they're getting at? I mean, I just took, because I thought it'd be fun, I just took a look at the Goop website on the way in here, and you know, you're offering people an extraordinary range of stuff, you know, from skincare products to clothing, to jewelry, and you have sponsors and all of that sort of stuff. But the prices are pretty extraordinary. A one-piece, well, they call it a onesie, a sort of pajama suit for $1,000. I mean, that seems...
Is there?
There really is.
Oh. You know, the truth of the matter is we have a complete range of price points on the site. So, you know, we have a $8 lip balm, we have $12 non-toxic deodorant. What we're trying to do is really offer a place for discovery, for delight. We're, you know, hoping to help people make interesting choices. And we're not always saying, you know, sometimes we're not always recommending you should buy this, but you know, if you dig on the site, there are definitely things at every price point. I think it's an easy criticism to make, and also, to be honest, like, we have a bit of fun now, and we'll sort of affiliate link to a $15,000 gold dildo just to troll people back, you know.
Well, that's interesting. I did wonder about that, whether you are quite aware of this critique, and the fact that, you know, you can talk to an awful lot of people, and a lot of people, you sort of know you for the acting, but now a lot of people also know you for, if I may say so, the $15,000 gold dildo. And are you in a way having
the things we achieve in life?
I didn't think I'd be discussing that on BBC World News, but there you go. Are you having a bit of a laugh? You know?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we definitely do that now for effect. It's fun. We look for products that will create that kind of reaction.
But you know, some people are going to really resent it, and they're going to say, how dare she sort of put out there a lifestyle which so many people simply cannot afford, you know. Do you worry about that at all?
I don't see it that way. You know, the values of the brand are that we believe in family, we believe in good food, we believe in wellness, we believe in non-toxic beauty, and the brand is really built around the values. And yes, if you want to buy something that is non-toxic, it might be slightly more expensive. I mean, which to me begs a bigger question of, you know, why there aren't organic or non-toxic products more widely available at a more mass price point, and hopefully we'll be able to make them one day. But really, it's about executing on the values of the brand. And there are some things that are expensive, but it's not about some lofty, unattainable lifestyle whatsoever.
Let's not get too hung up on the money, because I'm also interested in the degree to which you, in your pursuit of sort of well-being and a healthy lifestyle, are sending out a message which does suggest we all have to take an extraordinary amount of care about what we eat, what we put on our faces, how we live our lives. I mean, is it, when we get to foodstuffs, is it true, I think in It's All Good, one of your cookbooks, you talk about a horrible experience you had with French fries. Somebody told me that you had some sort of thing
I've never had a horrible experience with a French fry. I've never had a French fry. French fries are my life.
Do you, for somebody who's known, you know, for the sort of coffee-free, alcohol-free, dairy-free, chicken, egg, sugar, not in some people's diets and all of that, do you ever kick back and have a burger or a...
So this is where I think things get conflated that belong in separate buckets. So when I wrote It's All Good, it was because there were so many people, and especially children of friends, who were dealing with gluten allergies, egg allergies. We have this unbelievable epidemic, really, of allergens, and children especially responding very, very badly. So I had a friend who said, you know, I don't know what to feed my kid. I don't want to give them brown rice. Like, there must be good foodie food that's healthier and cleaner. And that was really the impetus for that book. I don't eat that way, but people So, you know, people tend to think that I eat just seaweed and a bit of air and a bit of...
They do.
Yeah,
They worry about you.
I know.
And they also worry, well, where's the fun? Where's the fun
But
in Gwyneth Paltrow's life? Where is the moment she can kick back with friends and say, you know what, I really, really fancy a burger?
But I do that all the time. I mean, I'm all about balance and, you know, living life in a way that is enjoyable. I love food. I love to eat. I love to cook. And I think that there's a tendency to generalize, especially if somebody's introducing a new concept or asking a question, and people don't know what it is or they're uncomfortable, they push back, they generalize. And that's okay. I completely accept that this is my path and this is what I'm here to do, and I'm here to ask these questions and sometimes, you know, piss people off.
Talking of that, there was this extraordinary moment in 2013 when at the very same time you were voted One Magazine's most hated celebrity, while at the very same time you were People Magazine's most beautiful woman in the world.
Yeah.
What was going on in your head when all that happened?
Well, I mean, first of all, I was like, I'm the most hated celebrity, like more than like Chris Brown? Like, what did I do?
I see where you're coming from, but maybe you just make people feel bad sometimes.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's never, obviously, was never my intention, and it's never my intention. But I also can't, all I can do is be my authentic self, and, you know, if you know me, then you know who I am, and that I have fun and eat, and I am so appreciative for my life. But I think that there are things about me that make people draw conclusions that can sometimes, you know, I mean, for example, there's a perception that I grew up very wealthy and that I was given, you know, and that I was sort of raised with a silver spoon in my mouth.
The sort of Hollywood princess idea.
Right, and which inspires a lot of resentment. And actually, the interesting thing is, you know, my parents did well, and I was able to go to a fantastic school, and we grew up in New York City. But the minute I left my college to try to pursue acting, my father was really supportive, but he said, you know, you're completely on your own. So he never gave me anything. I never had any supplementation. He never helped me with my rent. I never had a trust fund. You know, I was really, so the idea that I'm spoiled or that I didn't work for what I have is, you know, it's just not accurate, but I can see how somebody might have that perception.
And something that I know you've spent a lot of time on is social activism. I mean, you've worked with food bank organizations in New York, with I think the Robin Hood Foundation as well. I just wonder, with that sort of focus you have on anti-poverty campaigning, whether it just sort of feels weird with your day job running Goop.
Like how you reconcile the two things. But you know, it's really interesting. Actually, we're working on a piece about this right now, because I think that everybody has different aspects of their life, and you can want to help people who, you know, children who are disenfranchised and don't have a voice and can't stick up for themselves, and you can also want to eat a nice dinner and enjoy the people that you love, and they're not mutually exclusive. And I think, and you know, despite the perception, we are not our website is not only, you know, you would be surprised. Our customers really, you know, it's aspirational, but it's not a luxury site. You know, there are websites that sell far more expensive things and sort of tout a much more unattainable lifestyle than we do.
Before we end, just on that question of branding your lifestyle, it does raise issues about privacy in a way, and opening up your life to public scrutiny.
Right.
And on Goop, and in fact I believe on Goop you first announced that you and Chris Martin were parting.
Right.
And that was where the conscious uncoupling phrase became so well known. Did you worry about the degree to which you were sort of inviting scrutiny, or did you feel that was a way of controlling it by putting it out on your own website?
I felt that it was a way of controlling it, and I you know, it was such a difficult time in our lives, and I think we really felt like if we were doing it ourselves and on my platform, that it was a way to frame it exactly how we wanted to frame it. And we didn't know that the conscious uncoupling phrase was going to inspire so much conversation. But
what do you think about the way it's been interpreted?
Well, it's funny because at the inception, everyone was like, "What the hell is this?" And these people are crazy, and that's true. But I think over time, I think now what I hear is thank you so much for showing me another way that you can remain a family even though you're not a couple, and make it a less traumatic experience for the children. I think ultimately it's had a very positive impact. I mean, I didn't come up with the phrase. It wasn't my idea. It was a philosophy that we were following. But I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of us for the way that we, as anybody who's been divorced knows, you have to put aside quite a lot in order to maintain that commitment to stay a family for the sake of the children, and the practicalities of what that means. Sometimes it's quite tough on a personal level, but it's a commitment that I make every day to my children, that I adore their father, and that we're in a family even though we're not in a romantic relationship. So ultimately, I'm very proud of that.
We've talked a lot about the merchandise and the commercial aspects of what you do, but there's this phrase, I used to live in the States, and it was a phrase that always made me laugh, but a teachable moment. But do you think there's something that others can draw from your experience?
Absolutely, much the way I draw knowledge from other people's experience who have gone before me and who have traversed life in their own way. And I think if you're trying to ask questions and be thoughtful and apply what you're learning as you're going and expanding yourself, I think it resonates with people. And I think that's, on Goop, what we do most is, and what we do great is content. And the content is what's actually creating a context for the product. But we are very interested in exactly this, like how do I get through life in the best possible way?
And a final thought, which brings me back to the privacy point. You have chosen to find a very interesting path where you live in public to a certain extent through your own website and your own internet activity, and yet, as you've just indicated, you want to shield your kids, you want to shield your own private life from the media glare. How difficult is that? Do you think you've got the balance right, or have you maybe sometimes been too public, too out there?
I think these times are so new, with all the new forms of media, all the new social platforms, all the ways in which people are interacting and sharing information. And there's an aspect of it where you are supposed to open your life, and there's an aspect that you want to keep private. I think it's trial and error.
Can you have both?
I think you can.
You really can?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Is that, in essence, asking to have your cake and eat it too?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that when if you look at people who have created careers out of social media, and they're leveraging everything personal in order to build a career, like that might be the case. But I think I've lived in the public eye since long before the internet, since long before social media. It's something I've been navigating since I was 22 years old, over 20 years. And so, it is, as I say, trial and error. And I think there are things that you want to share. There are things that you should, put into the world if you want to, and things that you should hold back if you don't. But I try to strike the right balance. But it also, there's an aspect of social media that really can propel forward what you're trying to do in your business life, whether it's this TV show or a film or a business.
We have to end there.
Okay.
Gwyneth Paltrow, thank you so much for
Thank
being on HARDtalks. Thank you very much.